Hi everybody, thanks for periscoping with me. I'm holding out this book because I'm going to talk about it tonight. It is a book that I'm highly recommending for everyone who has been dealing with grief or that has dealt with grief or knows someone who is dealing with grief, because this family went through more than anyone that I've ever known. And they're so incredible. And so this is going to conclude my series on grief. And I just highly recommend this book, Choosing to See, by Mary Beth Chapman. She is married to Stephen Curtis Chapman. And this book is an incredible inspiration for anyone who has had tragic crisis, death, anything like that just sort of hit you, and especially when it's a sudden death. I just really hope that people will read this book and be able to be encouraged, because if they can get through this stuff, anyone can. But y'all, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Trina Titus Lozano, and I'm a counselor and ordained Christian minister, and I have been doing a series on grief just because death is a part of life, and at some point we're all going to deal with it, and we have to know in advance how to deal with it. And some of you might be dealing with it in the present. Hey, thanks Claire for putting it up for me, and Wendy. So yeah, I'm going to get these Periscopes downloaded, so these will be available to you all. So I just wanted to conclude the series on grief, because this is something that that is difficult, but y'all, no matter what, it's got to be dealt with in a positive way. It's got to be dealt with where when someone dies, you don't die too, because we have to stay. We got to stick. We got to stay in the land of the living, or as Monta Williams says, we got to press on. We've got to press on. We have to choose to go to that final stage of the grieving process and accept it and live, and really truly live, knowing that if you don't choose to see and see beyond this, to know that, you know what, like Jim Bob says, we're going to trust God no matter what. So I'm just going to read a little bit from this book. And I know that basically I'm doing a book review right now, but I think it's really important for anyone who needs an opportunity to push themselves to that acceptance part of grief, that they read this. It's just, it's the personal story of this family. For those of you who don't know the story, let me just share with you the tragedy that happened to them. I think it was in 2008, something like that, or maybe 2009. But they have 6 children, and one of their children accidentally ran over one of their children. So their son accidentally ran over their youngest adopted daughter. And what happened was, she was playing outside on their swing set, and when he drove in the driveway, she came to greet him. Her sister said, well, when Will gets here, he'll be able to help you get up on the monkey bars. And she was so excited to see her brother. She ran towards him, and he accidentally ran over her. And so that's what happened. And the whole family was home. Mom and Dad were right there. Mom was sitting at the kitchen window. Dad was on the front porch on his phone. And he's a recording artist, if any of you might know. Stephen Curtis Chapman, very, very successful recording artist. But it was the most tragic thing. So they had 2 things to deal with. And she died instantly. So they scooped her up, but there was no saving her life. She was already gone, just like she was asleep. And then, they had to then and continue to support their son that was accidentally responsible for the accident. I mean, he didn't mean to do anything, but it was simply an accident that happened right there in the driveway of their home. So this tragedy was literally unimaginable. So as they grieve their youngest daughter, Maria, they also have to comfort Will and know that they don't shame him, they don't blame him. There's nothing about it that was his fault. It was 100% an accident, and it could have happened to anyone. She just simply ran out in front of his car as he was pulling in the driveway. So there was nothing irresponsible on his part. It was simply her excitement to see her brother. And so I'm just going to share a few things that she writes in this book. And this is the mother, Mary Beth Chapman. Here's the book again, Choosing to See. And there's her husband, Stephen Curtis Chapman. Choosing to See, a journey of struggle and hope. New year and new beginnings. There's nothing we can do with suffering except to suffer it. That's a quote from C.S. Lewis. There's nothing to do, nothing that we can do with suffering except to suffer it. And then 1 Peter 5:10, after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. So, one thing that she wrote, she says, perfect forever, but there's that. In heaven. But here on earth, this side of the ever so thin veil, it's pretty crappy. No sense hiding it. I've spent a lot of time yelling at God, yelling at myself, yelling to hear myself yell, wanting so badly for God, who I believe in wholeheartedly, to yell back at me the answers that I know all along, which leaves me yearning for the day when all yelling will cease and every question that I had will finally be answered. Even the questions that I yelled at God, good news for a loudmouth like me who wants to know and know now. But I do know that there's healing, there's hoping, and there's hard. It seems like all of these have been the themes for this year. But for me personally, this is the second year, and the second year of my grief has been the hardest. It's as if I'm thawing out, walking from a deep freeze, coming back from some out-of-body experience. I'm literally missing huge chunks of time. And this year, 2009, has me feeling as though I'm experiencing some of this first without Maria. And then the reality just sets in. These are the seconds. This is my second year without her. So she must have died in 2007 because 2009 was her second year without her. But I have this hope in heaven, in Christ, in the cross, that we will win this battle before us. And as she shares some of the lyrics from a song that her husband wrote, they conclude this book. And another thing she says, it was really, really, really great and really, really, really hard. One of those places that you walk with God that it's just so, so, so hard. And I begged God to let me see Maria, and I did. So it's been cool because she's been able to see visions of her sweet Maria. And also as they built a house to honor Maria's big house of hope that officially opened the summer of 2009. Along with their family and close friends, they went all the way to China to dedicate this home. And this home was dedicated for their daughter Maria. So that was a beautiful thing. As she said, in all the eyes and tears and smiles of those little people, all those little Chinese children, she saw the eyes and the face of her daughter. And she was just convinced, as I saw her in every giggle, every cry, every child that was being given life-saving medical care there. I heard their voices, and in them I smelled her in the air. I smelled Maria. I prayed that God would allow me to keep walking in faith, to know that his ways are higher. Trust, trust, trust. But what else do I have? I just have to trust him. And then at the end, she says here, but then until I die or till Jesus comes back, I will do hard. I just have to do hard. And then spring is coming. And these are lyrics from Stephen Curtis Chapman after reading Isaiah 66:14. When you see this, your heart will rejoice and you will flourish like the grass. The hand the Lord made will be known. Hear the birds start to sing. Feel the life in the breeze. Watch the ice melt away. The kids are coming out to play. Feel the sun on your skin, growing strong and warm again. Watch the ground. There's something moving. Something is breaking through. New life is breaking through. Spring is coming and we will rise again. Spring is coming. We will rise again. So God confirmed this truth yet again. I can choose to see him in this story. I can choose to see his story. Or if I don't choose to see it, I can miss it. And I know in the winter of our grieving and the frozen morning of my plans that will never be and my dreams that actually died, the reality is this: God's warm breath is on the move. New life is budding. And often where I expected it, the very least, it's right beside me. So where better to end this book but yes, to just know that spring is coming. And y'all, as we face spring actually coming in the weather season here, we just know that I know that for all of my friends and family that are grieving right now, I just know that if you hold on to hope and if you choose to open your eyes to see that God's faithfulness and his grace is going to get you through this time of grief, I know You're going to make it through the winter of your grief, and you will see spring again. You will see new life again, okay? It's not going to happen today or tomorrow, but it will happen. And as soon as the season changes, you'll see that life again. And you'll see that God's grace will be faithful to get you through, and your memories will always be precious. So you guys just press through to the acceptance stage of your grieving process. And this is a great book to pick up to help you do that. So I hope that this blesses all of you, and that you guys will get this. It's a great story of their journey from struggle to hope. So you guys hold on to hope, and never let go. God bless you. Good night.